Welcome to the Digital Real Estate Secrets Podcast, episode 8. Guys, today we are going to be talking about how passive is digital real estate. We're going to be talking about the passivity of digital real estate. If you don't know who I am, my name is Nick Wood. I have been in this game for a minute. I've been doing this since 2016. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but if you've never heard this, I like to start with this. I have literally lost millions of dollars doing this. I've made every mistake in the book. I've done everything that you could conceive of that is wrong, and that is how I've learned to do everything that is right. In 2020, we finally figured this out for real. We scaled up our agency to doing $100,000 per month. We made our first $1 million in 2020. And we have not looked back ever since. In 2021, we did $1.45 million. And by the end of 2021, because we had people reaching out, hey, how are you doing this? How are you selling that? How are you able to scale to $100,000? You know, asking all these different questions, I realized there was an opportunity for me to go put together a program and teach people that wanted to get out of their job, get out of their maybe even their business that wasn't fulfilling or that wasn't giving them the lifestyle they wanted. And I started in my program called Digital Landlords at the end of 2021. And we've been doing that ever since. We're coming up on 3 years now running that program. We have seen people make as much as we had a student just recently hit this last week, or maybe it's 2 weeks ago, $86,000 per month. Now, again, keep in mind that is gross, but $86,000 per month, absolutely insane numbers. So yes, shout out to you, Mr. Ryan Dalton, my man. Okay, guys, today, passivity, passive income. How passive is this model? I'm going to be very conservative. I'm going to be very no fluff, just right to the point. I don't even know if this episode is going to be that long. I just want to answer this question because it's a question that we get all the time. And this term passive income gets tossed around and it gets tossed around too much, to be quite frank. Okay. But my goal with this episode is that by the end of the episode, you will know exactly how passive this model is. No fluff, no BS. How passive is this model? Okay. So here's kind of what we're looking at in terms of how this episode is going to roll. We're going to talk about what passive income actually means. We're going to talk about passive versus semi-passive. Then we're going to be talking about how this business model, the work is front-loaded. Then we're going to be talking about due diligence, and if you pick the right city, how much that takes care of everything. Okay. Then we're going to be talking about how not all clients are created equally. I'm going to be sharing some of my most passive websites. I'm going to be telling you why I think these websites are so passive, how they can actually be this passive. And then I'm going to give you guys a little bit of bonus at the end. Okay. So got my water, got my energy, ready to freaking rip, ready to roll. And let's get into this. So guys, first and foremost, passive income. We hear this all the time. Everyone wants it. But the truth is, to say that something's 100% passive, I don't think that's a thing. I don't think there's ever anything that is 100% passive. There's always going to be something, right? Whether it's real estate and you got to get, a tenant out and get a new one in, that takes away it being passive, or you got to fix this or fix that, or change this or change that. Nothing is 100% passive. It's just not. There's just no such thing as 100% passive. There are varying degrees of passivity. Okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Is what degree of passive is this? How much passivity is there with digital real estate? But whatever business model you attach yourself to, and by the way, guys, I completely forgot about this. And for those that are new, I sometimes get excited. I start talking and I forget that there's people that are listening that maybe this is their first episode. This is their first introduction to this model. Some of you guys are probably wondering, what the heck is digital real estate? Guys, the model that we're talking about when we say digital real estate, we are talking about building a simple website, ranking it on Google, and then getting phone calls and renting those phone calls out to a local business owner. That's it, right? Just like regular real estate, but instead of building a house, you build a website. Instead of getting a tenant, you're getting a business owner. Instead of giving them a place to live, you are giving them leads. That's it. Very simple. Think about it like this. You're building all these properties, but all over the internet. Instead of having a portfolio of properties in, Alabama or in Tennessee or in Utah or in California, you have a portfolio of assets of digital properties all over the interwebs. How cool is that? How cool is that? We're building a portfolio of assets, dog. And these assets are working for us 24/7, 365. It's just, and I've used this example before, but I kind of picture it like These are these little cash machines, right? We pick our city, we pick our niche, we go and we build them. We make sure they're trained properly. We tell them what to do. We program them in, and then we just send them out into the ether. Boom, go to work, go to work, right? And then while we're working, while we're golfing, while we're playing, while we're traveling, while we're sleeping, while we're eating, whatever we're doing, these things are working. These little assets, they're pumping out leads. And these leads, every time a phone call happens, you are getting paid. How cool is that? And you can build as many as you want. And they cost almost nothing to build. And when I say almost nothing, we have a previous episode we talked about how much do these actually cost to build. Okay. And I don't want to give a spoiler, but it's way less than you think. They are not that much, especially compared to regular physical real estate. But that's the business model that we're talking about, in case anyone is wondering, what the heck is digital real estate? What's this model, rank and rent? The reason we call it rank and rent is because you rank a website and then you rent it out. Very simple, right? And it's I get excited. I just barely was at lunch with somebody, and this person lives close to me. They had a solar company, got out of that, and they're just looking at their next move. And we were sitting there talking, and he's looking at doing financial advising for a buddy. He's got a buddy that's independent. He's thinking about opening an office here. And by the way, I'm in Utah for those of you that are wondering when I say here. And he's looking at that versus this. And I'm never the person that's going to like try and convince you. And I said to him, I said, look, it comes down to like what you want, right? What do you want your lifestyle to look like? What do you want your day-to-day to look like? Do you want to have to put on a smile and say hello to everyone in this town that we live in and drive a certain way? And, oh, I don't want to drive that car because I might offend this person. And heaven forbid I have this political view because this person might be offended and I might lose business. In this business, we get to work from our houses, or we get to work from our office, or we're going to work from all of the above, or we're going to work from the airplane, or we're going to work from the pool, or we're going to work from the beach. And guess what? Your clients, you don't have to have them in your backyard. Your clients could be all across the world. And guess what? You can do whatever you want in your hometown, and you're not going to lose money. Your money is not tied to your hometown. And that's what I freaking love about this business model. So we're talking about these two opportunities. And I said, with the exception of you liking the idea of this business, this other business, which is financial services, these aren't even comparable, dude. These aren't even comparable. We're talking about upside. You're capped in this business. With this business, with renting simple websites, there's no cap to how many you can build, dude. There's no cap. Guess what? No one gets to set the price. No one's telling you can only charge $1,000 a month. It is literally like I can go build a website today, and if I can convince you it's worth $5,000 a month, my leads, my phone calls, if it's worth more than $5,000 to you because of the deals you're closing, I could charge $5,000. I get to set my own prices. That's the most amazing thing. I don't have to be regulated by this and charge this and competitive with this. I guess technically you might have to, but if my service is not comparable to any other service, I could charge whatever I want. What a business, baby. What a freaking business. So guys, nothing is truly passive. There are varying degrees of passivity. This one has got a lot of passivity to it, okay? So another thing you guys should know is that the work with this business is completely front-loaded, okay? And what I mean by that is most of the stuff that you're gonna have to do, most of the work that you're gonna have to do for this entire project is gonna come in the first 6 months. And inside of that first 6 months, it's gonna come inside the first 60 days, okay? You're going to have to spend the time to find the niche and find the city. And you might have to look at 10, 20, 30 cities to find one. That's just the reality, okay? You're also gonna have to go and land the client. You're also gonna have to build the website. You're gonna have to rank the website. You're gonna have to make sure the client trusts you during that initial contract, which I like to offer 6-month contracts. That is all packed into that first contract. And I always do a 6-month contract. There's people out there, they don't do contracts. I don't know why. Contracts make me sleep better at night. It makes me realize, or it makes me feel a little bit better. Christmas coming up, I'm not going to have a bunch of people try and cancel on me. But you don't have to do contracts. That's also your decision, okay? But most of the work is front-loaded into the first 6 months. And that's something that you really, really need to know. Now, what I've realized, though, after doing this now for almost 8 years, is that once you get done with that first initial 6-month contract, so Mr. Business Owner and I are working together 6 months. After we get through that first 6-month contract, if I can get he or she to renew with me, which by the way, when I renew, I like to renew and roll people into a year. I say, hey, sounds good, right? We good? I want to keep working with you. We'll keep the price the same. The leads, it's not going to be perfect. We're going to have some ups, some downs, but overall, we're going to keep our foot on the gas. We're going to keep ranking the website. We're going to keep doing everything we've done and more. And we get them and I say, hey, let's do a year contract. The only time I wouldn't do a year contract is if that first contract expired. I made a mistake and it expired in the winter, which I do not want my contract every year to be expiring in the winter. Other than that, I'm rolling them into a new 1-year contract. And guys, I'm telling you, once you get that first 6-month contract, everything after that becomes much, 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 much easier. Okay. So, but think about it, guys. If I came to you and said, hey, it's very passive, it's really passive, and there's not like really any upfront work, you'd be like, that sounds like a scam. And it probably would be. So that should put you at ease a little bit, knowing that it's not a scam, okay? Or hopefully it's not a scam. I mean, for all you know, it could be a scam. I could be lying through my teeth. I could have almost 2,000 videos on YouTube at the time of recording this on it being a scam. I could, but I always say this: I am either the biggest, the best liar, like serial killer status, or this actually works. Okay. And either one is better than the other. And if I am the first, there's probably going to be like a Netflix documentary. So you're part of that. No, I'm just kidding. So guys, next thing I want to talk about, and just to kind of touch on it, I always talk about this. I want to reiterate. If you pick the right city and if you pick the right niche, almost everything else becomes easier. It requires very little work. Getting the client is easier because you're going into an area that has hungry business owners. Okay. So getting the clients easier, ranking the websites easier because you're not going against as many competitors. Maintaining the client is easier because you're not having a bunch of people come into your area, right? All your leads become cheaper when you're running ads because there's not as much competition. Picking the right city and picking the right niche is so important. I cannot stress about it enough. And I talk about it so often. It is the most important step in the entire process, is picking the right city, picking the right niche. And if you guys do this correctly, everything else is going to be easier. And if you don't do it correctly, guys, everything else is going to be harder. You're making it harder on yourself. And what I see, a big mistake I see with a lot of people that start doing this business model is they're so anxious to get going, which I love. I love the energy. But guys, take your time. Pick the city and pick the industry, pick the city and the niche that has enough volume and has relatively low competition. And there's not, you're not going to be, and there's also hungry business owners. You pick that and you figure out that formula, which by the way, is exactly what we cover. That's why we came out with the program and everything else. But if you're somebody that's like DIY, I'm going to go do it myself and figure it out, go do it. But when you figure out that formula, that is the most important part of the process. That right there will save you hours and hours and weeks and months and thousands of dollars if you pick the right city and the niche. And I cannot finish this episode without mentioning that, because I mentioned every episode. Picking that city and picking that niche is where all the money is made. Just like in regular real estate, they say the money is in the buy, not the sell. Meaning, if I go into a market and I buy a house that is $50,000, I buy it for $50,000 less than it's worth, I can turn around and sell that sucker at any time for what it's worth, and I'm probably going to make money. Most likely because I got equity instantly, right? Because I paid $50,000 less than it was worth. I made my money right there. Buying that property for that price, I made my money. On the flip side, if you rush in and you're like, I really want to get a property in Beverly Hills, I want to get a property here because I just like it, and you're emotional about it, guess what? The only way you're making money on that thing is if, something happens, the whole house prices go up, you get you do a bunch of stuff that makes it really attractive, and you find the right buyer and this and that. It becomes very difficult to make money. But guess what? If I bought that thing for less than it's worth, and I bought it in the right city, and I bought it at the right price, well, I'm going to make money on that. It's almost guaranteed. The money is made in the buy, not the sell. Okay? So let's keep moving. Guys, if you pick the right city and you pick the right niche, once you are ranked, once your website is at the top of page 1 for all these different terms, let's say concrete. You're ranked, let's say concrete, and I always use Vegas. Let's use Phoenix. Phoenix concrete. Let's say that when you type in concrete Phoenix, concrete contractors Phoenix, concrete patio Phoenix, concrete driveway Phoenix, there's about 7 main keywords. You type all those things in, you're showing up at the top page 1. Once you get to that page 1, once you do the work, you do the SEO, which by the way, I know a lot of people think that doing the SEO and getting the leads, getting the website to rank is the hardest part. It's the easiest part. It's the easiest part. I know hundreds of people that are getting leads, that have websites that are getting leads that are not making money. Okay. Getting the deal, getting the credit, the business owner to give you their credit card, that's the challenge. Okay. But let's assume that you do the SEO and you get ranked and you pick the city that's not that hard to rank in and you get that sucker ranked at the top. What you have to understand, guys, is that once you do that, it requires very little maintenance. Okay. Very little maintenance. I'm going to give you a couple examples. I have a website and you guys can go and do these searches real time, just like on your browser, whatever. If you type in anything with the word towing, tow truck, towing company, whatever, and St. George, ST George, you're going to see a website called Towing St. George. Or is it Towing St. George or St. George Towing? Let me check. Hold on. Let me type it in. I'm going to see where I'm actually ranked. This is how often I don't check on these. Okay. Yeah. TowingSt.George.com. You're going to see rank number 1, at least for the term Towing St. George. Okay. Go figure. Guys, I need you to know that with that website right there, I would have to ask Francesca because I wouldn't want to lie to you, but I would bet, I'm almost certain. Let me just put it that way. I'm almost certain that the last time we logged into that website was over 2 years ago. We haven't put content on it. We haven't put a backlink on it. We haven't even logged in and put a picture on it. It is ranked and it's glued to the top because we did good due diligence. We figured out a good city. We figured out a good niche. We did our SEO and boom, it's stuck at the top. Google approves of us. Google likes us and we're pinned to the top. So I always look at it like this. It's with SEO. If you pick the right city and the right niche, once you get to the top, it's like cruise control. It's like climbing a mountain. If you guys have ever been on a hike and you're climbing a hill, or let's say a mountain, not a hill. You're climbing a mountain, and I'm talking about those hikes, those rigorous hikes. You got the rocks, and you got the stuff floating, it's falling, and you're climbing, you're grabbing the tree, and it's a beast getting to the top. But once you get to the top, on most mountains. Now I know that there's probably some that's not like this. Most mountains I've climbed, you get to the top, there's like a plateau. Right? And you can kind of just like walk flat. You don't have to do much effort and you still stay at the top, even though you're walking across the ridge. That's kind of how SEO is. Once you get ranked, and if you've done it correctly and you've been going to the right city and the right niche, you're kind of just stuck there. Now, I'm not saying always. Of course, somebody could come in, it's putting a lot of time and effort and energy and knock you off, potentially, but it's very unlikely because if you pick the right city and the right niche, you're probably not even going to get found out about. It's probably not even going to be on anyone's radar. Does that make sense, guys? I hope this is making sense. Okay. So that's towing. Let me give you another example. Type in Bentonville Concrete, Bentonville Concrete Contractors, Concrete Company, Bentonville, whatever you want with Bentonville and concrete. You're going to see a website called BentonvilleConcrete.com. That project we have not logged into. We signed that deal in 2020. We have not logged into that website. I am certain of this one because I was the one that actually built that website. That's back when I was still building the websites. It's been over 3 years, guys, and that thing has been glued to the top of Google. That site has made us a lot of money, and that has been glued to the top of Google. Okay, so that's Bentonville Concrete, and then yeah, we'll just give you those 2 examples. But guys, if you pick the right city, you pick the right niche. Once you are ranked, it requires very little work. Okay. Next thing you guys need to know about the passivity of this business model is that not all clients are created equally. The degree of passivity will most likely lie with the business owner you choose to partner with, not with the website. So I have seen this time and time again. If you can get the website ranked and it's a relatively low competition area, you don't have to do a lot once it's ranked. Business owners are a different story. There are varying degrees of high maintenance business owners. And you have the ones on one end that are calling you all the time and they want to talk and they want to text and they want to ask this and they're, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we add this picture? Why aren't we getting more leads? We got more last month. It's been a little slow this week. Those are terrible clients. Those are the worst and they're the most picky. And usually those are the ones that you're charging the least for, just as a little side note. And then you have on the other end of the spectrum, which is where most of my clients are, because those are the ones that have stayed with me for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Those clients, they don't care. They're getting their leads, they're closing their jobs, they're sending you money. I'm telling you right now, the degree of passivity of these projects is not black and white. It is on a spectrum. And the more high maintenance your client is, the less passive this is going to be. Your website's going to rank. And once it's ranked, or your website, if you do everything correctly, it will rank. And once it's ranked, it will stay ranked, most likely. without doing much. However, keeping a business owner is a different story. And if you get a high maintenance business owner with, especially if you set unrealistic expectations or they have unrealistic expectations, good freaking luck. This is where you should be spending most of your time. And a lot of the people that I work with, they're so desperate to get that first deal. They're so anxious to ink that first deal. They just take the money. And guys, just because you can get money doesn't mean you should take it. That's something you learn. And as you start to do this, you start to get more and more picky with the business owners that you choose to work with, because you realize that if they are low maintenance during the sales process, they're probably going to be low maintenance during the, after the deal going forward. Okay. Next, I want to talk about a couple of my most passive sites. It just came to my mind. What I would like to do, this is going to be an interesting little exercise here, is I want to give you the website. And then I'm going to go into my text messages and I'm going to let you know the last time we had a real conversation about business. Okay. Now, I'll tell you the last time I got a text, but if it wasn't related to business or it wasn't anything that was high maintenance or whatever, I'll let you know. But I want to give you an example. So let me start with a website called stgeorgeepoxy.com. Again, type in epoxy and St. George epoxy flooring, St. George. You're going to see a website called St. George Epoxy. It's going to be 1, 2, or 3 right there at the top. That website was built in 2020. I know all this off the top of my head because I sold all these websites. I built most of these websites. That's why they're so daggum ugly. Okay. stgeorgeepoxy.com. Built that website in 2020. I just looked at this yesterday, so I know the exact figures. We've made $33,400 from this website to date. $150 a week. It's nothing to write home about, but it stacks up over time. Okay. And the last time that I got a text message from this client, my phone's turned off because I didn't want anyone to bug me. I need to turn it on if I'm going to look at these other ones, it was April of 2022. Okay, so we're talking about over 2.5 years is the last time that I even got a text message from this guy that's paid me $33,400. Okay, just to put it in perspective, that's St. George Epoxy. Now I'm going to use my other site that I just used, which is Bentonville Concrete. This is a website I've had since 2020. We landed the client in 2020. We've never had any pauses. We've never had any breaks. It's been great. He's been super easy to work with. I'm going to actually real time pull up the stats. I'm going to open my Stripe account. I'm going to tell you guys first and foremost exactly how much money I've made. By the way, we haven't logged into this website in over 3 years. I'm going to pull up his last payment. Loading. Okay. So here he goes. He pays $225 a week. And his last payment, he has paid us a total of $48,500. Okay. That's BentonvilleConcrete.com. Let me pull up his name. This is the last text from him. Okay. Last text from him, an actual text, was on July 23rd. Okay, but this wasn't, I'm just going to be completely honest, July 23rd, 11:02 a.m. But the last text that I got from him that was actually relevant, like this is just stuff. He's like, he saw my story. We're talking about pickleball, then we're talking about Dubai. I'm talking about actual business stuff. And guys, this is the cool part. You get to build these cool relationships with these people. Okay, right here. Friday, November 10th of 2023 is the last time I got a message from this guy. Okay, and here's what the text says. Hey, brother, I've sent a bunch of emails back and forth. I'd like to get together and talk and figure out how I can really expand this business. I know you guys are good at what you do, and so are we. I want your help. Let's figure out. So the guy's hitting me up a year ago. Is the last time I had a business conversation, and he's asking me to do more business. He's asking how we can expand. Okay, that's what I'm talking about, guys. This is the kind of passivity I'm talking about. Okay, let me give you one more example. St. George Concrete. You guys can go type in St. George Concrete, whatever, and I believe the website is stgeorgeconcreteco.com. Go type in Concrete St. George, Concrete Contractor St. George, whatever. Type it in. You're going to find us, St. George Concrete CO. I guess I should check that before I just start ripping. Let me see. Concrete. Check it out. All of these little projects, man, you build them, you code them. You don't actually do any coding, but you program, hey, this is what you should do. And you just turn them loose, man. And they're just working. These things are just working for you. Okay. St. George Concrete CO.com. It's actually ranked number 2, which I don't care because that doesn't change my pay. Let me tell you how much we're getting paid per month. This one is a healthy little chunk of money. I know that. I know it's more than the other one. Let me see the last time we got paid. Right there. Okay, $375 a week on that guy. Let's see what that is. because I want to give you an exact thing. It's $1,500 a month, 375 times 4, $1,500 per month. Not bad. Okay. And that person has paid us $57,000 on the nose for that website. Now, when is the last time this person texted me? To be honest, I don't even remember the person's first name. That sounds super bad. I don't know if I know this person's name. Oh yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna look it up. Hold on. This I might not even remember this person's name, which should be a testament in and of itself that okay, hold on. Sorry guys, we're doing this real time here. Um, dude, I don't know. I'm gonna try and type in St. George Concrete in my messages. I don't know this person's first name. Dude, oh, right there. Boom. November 18th, 2022 at 7:31 a.m. November 18th. So we're coming up on almost 2 years. We're coming up on 23 months. I don't think you guys realize it's hard to conceptualize how long that is. I was in Africa for 2 years. I know what 2 years is like. I remember thinking, I got this many months left. I got this many months left. It was a 2-year missionary trip. 2 years is not a short period of time. It has been almost 2 years. I live in the same town as this person. I'm sure we pass each other at the grocery store. It's almost been 2 years. Okay. St. George Concrete. Guys, these are some passive website examples that I'm giving you. Okay. Now, why are these so passive? Well, number one is I've chose good clients. These are good clients that I've set. They're good clients. They're not high maintenance, like by nature. But secondly, I set expectations that, hey, I'm not going to be calling you every 5 minutes. I'm going to get you leads and you're going to give me money. And it's not always going to be perfect. We're going to have some months that are down, some months that are up, but it's all going to even out. And that's the expectation that we set from day one. And that's one of the reasons. The other reason, guys, is the nature of this business is very cut and dry. I give you leads, you give me dollars. It's not SEO where I'm going to do this and I'm going to do backlinks and I'm going to give you a report and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and then we're going to talk. No. If I stop giving you leads, you're going to stop paying me. You stop paying me, I'm going to stop giving you leads. Very cut and dry. There's not a lot to talk about. Now, you want to call me and do more business? Great. I want to call you and raise your price? Great. You think the leads have been a little bit slow? Let's talk. Other than that, unless you, and I'm going to get this in my last point, my bonus point, but guys, these are very cut and dry deals, and that's why they can be so passive. Now, again, guys, I've had clients that it's not nearly this passive, but guess what? I don't have those clients anymore because I'm not willing to deal with those type of things. Okay. I'm just not. I chose this business because I wanted something that was, I could set it and forget it. Okay. I'm willing to do some front loaded work. I'm willing to do a bunch of work up front so I can get this thing built. I can push it out into the internet and it can go to work for me. That's called an asset. And that's what I like to do. Okay. So that's the reason why these can be so passive, is the nature of the deal is very cut and dry. Leads for dollars, dollars for leads. Anything outside of that, deal's done. Simple, done. That's it. There's no fluff. There's no, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that. Here's our workload. Nope, we're getting leads or we're not. That's it. You're paying me or you're not. Very binary. Here's the last thing I want to talk about, guys, is just because you don't have to talk to these clients doesn't mean you have to follow my lead. Now, there are some clients I do a better job of following up with. There are some clients I don't do a better job following up with. Let's be honest, I don't follow up very well with any of my clients because that's how I want my business to be. I don't want to be attached and tied to my business. However, I'm not saying that that's what you should do. What I want to leave you with is, guys, imagine if even though you don't have to follow up with these clients, even though you don't have to be high touch with these clients, what if you were? What if you followed up? You sent the Christmas card. You checked in on the birthday. You sent him a text message saying, hey, how's things going? What if you were that way even though you didn't have to be? What would happen then? Well, I'll tell you what would probably happen is you would probably be able to expand and grow a lot more with these clients. You'd probably be able to expand and grow leaps and bounds with these clients that you already have. And guys, when I was ramping up to $100,000 a month, that's what we were doing. We were trying our best to do that. Now, I have used a lot of my agency is run by Francesca, who is my right-hand man, my right-hand woman, I guess. And so for me, I spend a lot of my time teaching people, okay, doing lives, creating content, etc. And then if I am doing anything inside of my agency, my actual client business, where I'm sending leads, I'm closing deals, okay? The fulfillment, the customer service, etc. I leave that with Francesca. But I want you just to think about this. What if you did treat these clients like they were your last dollar? What if you did treat these clients like you had to earn their business every month? How much could you grow with them? How much would they trust you? How many referrals would you actually get? Guys, this business can be very, very, very passive. But the most important thing is that you guys pick the right area and the right niche, and you pick the right business owner. If you guys do those things and you can get through that first 6-month contract, keep them happy and sign them into a year, you have a lot of passivity ahead of you. Guys, I really appreciate you guys being on this episode. If you guys like this episode, I would love if you shared it with somebody that you think would benefit from it. Don't be scared to share it, because guys, the more people that start doing this, the more it's going to be easy for us to get business owners to agree to it, because the laws of marketing state, the more familiar a person is with the product or service, the more apt they are to buy. Also, just real quick, if you guys, I try to mention this every time, guys, we have a free training at rentsimplesites.com. Go check it out. We have a Discord channel. We have a Facebook, all this stuff's in the description. We have a Discord channel. We have a Facebook group. And guys, for those of you, guys, gals, for those of you that value your time over your dollars, because you can get your dollars back, but you can't get your time, apply to Digital Landlords. That's where we have everything soup to nuts. That's where that's where all the big money's coming from. The Ryan Daltons, the Mike V's, et cetera, that you guys are seeing us interview. Those people are inside the program. Apply there, and the link is in the description. And with that said, guys, remember, money loves speed. I'll see you guys on the next episode. I'm out.